Christians in Nigeria are facing a dire religious persecution, and the corruption, violence, and narratives at play make it a revealing case study. With the U.S. now designating Nigeria a particular country of concern for a lack of religious freedom, we welcome on Jason Jones, founder of the Vulnerable People Project, as well as Father Viktor Ekanem, a Catholic priest in Nigeria. Jason Jones, Father Viktor Ekanem, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Great to be here, thanks.
Now, I want to start with you, Father Viktor. President Trump has designated Nigeria as a particular country of concern regarding religious freedom. Can you give us a sense for the religious freedom in Nigeria right now?
Religious freedom in Nigeria is something that is somewhat difficult to understand from outside. Those of us in the country, what we experience, the Christians face more difficulties, more tasks in practicing their faith, especially the Christians in the northern part of Nigeria, than the Muslims themselves. So it is very clear that there's a big division between the Christians and Muslims in Nigeria. I want Nigerians to live, I want the Christians to be alive, I want the Muslims to be alive. Now, whoever is going to do that for us, I don't care. Whether it's going to be from Trump or from anywhere, as long as we are going to be alive and safe in this country. So if Trump is the person that's going to save us, he is highly welcome.
Jason, in your recent letter to President Trump, your joint letter, you say that education is an antidote to extremism. Can you describe what you mean there?
Yeah, you know, but I want to also echo what Father Viktor said. I want to be clear. The violence that the Christians are facing in Nigeria, it's Islamist extremism. The Christians in Nigeria are victims of Islamist extremism, as are the Muslim. The Muslim community also suffers, but there's this confusion, or they're trying to confuse the situation that's saying that there is not an Islamist component to it. But I want to be very clear, there is an Islamist component to it. And that's where education and opportunity come in. And then this is also, we need to tie it together with anti-corruption. And in Nigeria, they have a saying that if a terrorist organization lasts for more than 24 hours in a country, it's because there's political support within the country behind those organizations. So anti-corruption, education, and empowering local security teams is the key. Our organization, the Vulnerable People Project, provides security for 21 Christian communities and a Jewish community. But we're not allowed to, not only can we not, our security guards are not even allowed to carry weapons, let alone body armor. So we would like to see Nigeria respond to the president's concerns by allowing the local communities to provide real security to protect themselves from violent Islamist extremism.
And Father Viktor, as far as the corruption in Nigeria, how is that degrading the humanitarian situation?
A lot, because the political leaders have denied the citizens of their rights, the basic amenities of life, thereby making people to be vulnerable, living as second-class citizens, begging leaders to survive. And corruption has deprived Nigerians of education, healthcare, employment, such that Nigerian youths are so vulnerable, are so poor, and many of them have gone into armed robbery, into criminality as a result of lack of basic amenities of life from government.
Are there any parallels that we're seeing in Nigeria that could be in other places of the world in this regard?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. And yeah, we've seen this all over. And I'm really, as someone who serves vulnerable communities around the world, in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, India, the West Bank and Gaza, I think across the board, what President Trump has said is the war on Christians is over, the war on faith is over. In his first administration, his ambassador at large on religious liberty, Sam Brownback, went to China and in the face of the CCP said, you've declared a war on religion and you're going to lose. You can look at the CCP, for example. There have been 10 or more Catholic bishops just vanished, just disappeared. But that war of religion is in the CCP. In India, in one state alone, over 300 churches were burned down. And a lot of people don't know that the Christian community in India goes back to the 1st century. In Azerbaijan, they ethnically cleansed 120,000 Christians from Artsakh 2 years ago. Today, right now, in the West Bank, in Taiba and in Gaza, the oldest Christian community in the world, are facing an existential crisis. And as a Christian, I would say wherever a vulnerable ethnic or religious minority is being persecuted, you might as well persecute us too, because we're going to stand with them. You know, at the Vulnerable People Project, we have armed guards right now outside of synagogues, churches, and Muslim girls' schools. We don't look to see if you're baptized.
And Father Viktor, can you just talk to us a bit about what it's like upholding your faith amid persecution in Nigeria?
Well, Christians are following Jesus Christ, who lived a life of sacrifice, a life of persecution, and I called the Christians to follow suit. As a priest, and what priest and the church is doing is to encourage every Christian in the face of persecution to hold on to his faith. You will not hear any Christian group being an extremist in terms of going out to attack. So we hold on to faith, looking up to Christ and praying every day that this problem should be ward off. As we maintain the faith, we also have hope of this problem coming to an end someday.
In your project, while I have you here, about the Vulnerable People Project, there's a movement to tear down the Chinese firewall. Why is that so important?
Well, you bring down the Chinese firewall, the CCP is waging a war on people of faith. They're waging a war on Falun Dafa practitioners. There's an ethnic cleansing on the Uyghur. They've disappeared our bishops. They're appointing bishops and disappearing bishops with one hand and disappearing them with another. When we tear down that firewall, that's the best thing we can do to bless the people of China. And the first victim of the CCP are the people of China. We tear down that firewall, we can have a free exchange of ideas. And especially those of us of faith, we would love to share our faith. We would love to answer the questions and engage in conversations and share information and share technology and partner together. I think the greatest blessing to the world would be a free China. And I think tearing down that firewall would be a first step to a free China. And a free China is a prosperous and better world, because we have walled off a beautiful civilization. It's like the world is living with one lung. When we free China, the world is going to breathe again with two lungs. And I think there are two things we need to see. The Vatican, as a Roman Catholic sitting next to a Roman Catholic priest, the Vatican must not renew their deal with the CCP. They must not renew it. In renewing that deal, they're betraying Falun Dafa practitioners, the Uyghur, the people of China, and especially Catholics in China. And number two, we need to see that firewall ripped to shreds. We need to partner with people in China and use technology outside of China to tear down that wall. And then, you know, I do believe in this decade, we're going to see a free China, and what a blessing that'll be to the world.
Jason Jones, Father Viktor Ekanem, thank you very much for your insights here today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.